bsummary.com, 12 Rules for Life by Jordon Peterson. About Jordon Peterson. Jordon Peterson, a highly acclaimed Canadian YouTube celebrity, clinical psychologist, and psychology lecturer at the University of Toronto, was raised in the desolate plains of northern Alberta, where he got his PhD and postdoctorate in clinical psychology from McGill University before teaching at Harvard. Peterson has garnered fame from his television appearances, where he gives wisdom on personal growth, religion, and cultural Marxism. In 2016, he released a series of YouTube videos that challenged the recent rules on gender identification discrimination, which sparked mixed responses from criticism to praise. Politically, Peterson identifies as a classic British liberal, as he promotes individual freedom and the maintenance of tradition, though he does not agree with any right-wing ideologies. Throughout his life, Peterson has had many adventures, from performing a hammerhead role in a carbon fiber stunt plane to exploring an Arizona meteorite crater with astronauts. He has also taught mythology to lawyers, doctors, and business people. In addition, he has been a consultant to the UN Secretary General and advised numerous top partners of renowned Canadian law firms. Introduction. Jordon B. Peterson's 12 Rules for Life is a book that aims to instruct us in the areas of discipline, responsibility, autonomy, and adventure. By examining ancient customs, as well as more recent studies, Peterson assembles 12 distinctive essays with the intention of helping us make sense of the pandemonium of today. He suggests, rather than trying to find joy, we should be in search of significance as a safeguard against the tribulations of life. Peterson compares the idea of chaos and balance to yin and yang and suggests that to keep equilibrium, we must tackle uncertainty with structure. He further advises that our mission to uncover meaning should be a way to bypass the affliction that is inherent in our lives and not an end goal. The book is peppered with advice on philosophical theories, psychology, mythology, religion, and individual stories. Since its launch in 2018, it has been published in numerous languages and sold millions of copies. Rule 1. Stand up straight with your shoulders back. Refusal to accept a fundamental reality can cause great suffering. Shirking responsibility for one's unhappiness can lead to a sensation of powerlessness. This outlook is becoming increasingly widespread and involves the idea that someone else will address your troubles. Taking this mentality inhibits you from uncovering a sense of meaning. Those who show the greatest courage often overcome immense suffering, difficulty, and strife. Acknowledging their anguish enabled them to uncover a sense of meaning. Furthermore, posture is essential. To learn how to protect yourself, Peterson suggests picturing yourself as holding a shellfish inside. Lobsters, much like humans, have similar neural systems. Certain elements of the crustacean brain are devoted to the establishment of social rankings. Peterson elaborates on studies which indicate that lobsters that are defeated in fights and consequently lose their place in the social hierarchy stop producing serotonin. This lack of serotonin can result in the lobsters becoming despondent. The biggest of the lobsters took a brave stance, whereas the rest stayed in a bent-over position. Our posture has a substantial effect on our mental attitude. Showing accountability is also a part of this. Research has shown that even a slight change in posture can affect our emotions. It's hard to accept your own behavior when you're hunched or sitting on the floor. By standing upright with your shoulders back and feet shoulder-width apart, you exude confidence and a readiness to do something meaningful. Upright posture with an alert back is a way of attending to life, with consciousness unfurled. It involves a deliberate choice to rearrange the disarray of possibilities into an organized structure. It involves taking up the duty of self-awareness and realizing the end of the blissful, uninformed childhood where mortality and borders are seldom grasped. Realizing the difficulties essential to producing a purposeful and productive life, in simpler terms, doing what God wants, is essential. Jordon Peterson. Rule 2. Treat yourself like someone you are responsible for helping. Peterson encourages acknowledging yourself and those around you for behaving responsibly and considerately. He acknowledges patients for displaying genuine empathy and consideration for others. They can freely express their feelings since they are simply being themselves. When you are a patient, You don't strive to be someone else. The lesson of the narrative from the patient attitude is to esteem yourself and be cognizant that you merit help. You are vital to other people, just as much as you are to yourself. You have a pivotal role to play in the continuous destiny of the world. Thus, you are morally bound to take care of yourself. You should look after, aid, and be generous to yourself. Act towards yourself in the same way you would take care of, aid, and be generous to someone you adore and esteem. For your own well-being, you need to determine the areas in which you will make concessions without feeling bitter, vengeful, and malicious. You should be clear on your own limits for 2 reasons: to safeguard yourself from people taking advantage of you, to feel safe and content while you are busy and having a good time. Cherishing yourself is vital to instilling significance into your life. Don't underestimate the power of your ambition and goals. These can be potent forces that can turn obstacles into pathways and terrific opportunities. Center on the person. Begin with yourself. Take care of yourself. Develop your identity. Enhance your character. Select your destination and show your presence. As the renowned 19th-century German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche so astutely said, the individual with a purpose can sustain nearly any situation. Jordon Peterson. Rule 3. Make friends with people who want the best for you. The people you keep as company have a major impact on your behavior. Their words and actions will often be reflected in your own. This means they can also have a negative effect on you through bad behavior. But if you're surrounded by individuals who encourage you to reach higher heights, they won't tolerate your pessimism and destructive ways. Instead, they'll applaud you when you do something good for yourself and others, and delicately discipline you when you don't. This kind of backing will help to reinforce your commitment. Individuals who don't have any ambition will do the opposite. Peterson explains that teachers usually pair underperformers with high achievers on team projects. Their aim is to raise the underperformers up to the level of their peers. However, research suggests the opposite is more common. The high achievers are likely to be brought down to the underperformers' level. So, make an effort to be around positive people. Look beyond superficial traits such as style or financial standing and identify who can assist you in making a positive change. It takes strength and courage to stay close to great people like this, as you may feel inadequate. Have some humility and courage so you can grow as a person. Rule 4. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today. Find your being. Once you arrive at adulthood, you are an individual with a unique set of characteristics. It's essential to bear this in mind when you compare yourself to others. You have your own financial, romantic, and mental issues that are determined by the special context of your life. Your job or career may not be the perfect match for you, based on how it fits with the other elements in your life. As you get to know yourself better, you must consider how much of your time to devote to your job and how much to other areas of life. You must also decide which things to pursue and which ones to abandon. This needs careful thought, learning, self-reflection, and talking to other people. Ultimately, doing this helps you to make decisions without feeling overpowered. Avoid comparing yourself to others. Our minds are naturally predisposed to evaluate ourselves in comparison to others. When we recognize that we are superior to someone else, our brain will release serotonin, which gives us a sense of control and assurance. On the other hand, if we are made to appear inadequate by someone, our brain will not generate serotonin and we will feel a lack of self-worth. Nowadays, our brains are able to discern how we measure up to other people through the internet, which links us to billions of people. Consequently, when exposed to so many others that are superior to us, we often become discouraged. This leads to us no longer taking action and our lives becoming disordered. To prevent this from happening, we should stop comparing ourselves to others and instead focus on being better than who we were yesterday. Jordon Peterson said, "Even a man on a sinking ship can be happy when he clambers aboard a lifeboat. And who knows where he might go in the future. To journey happily may well be better than to arrive successfully." Get your psychological house in order. It is important to monitor and upgrade your mental well-being. Comparing where you are today to where you were yesterday is what Peterson calls taking inventory of your psychological state. You can gauge the progress you have made and decide if it is satisfactory. Additionally, you must identify which parts of your psychological state need to be improved. Think about if these changes are surface level or if they run deep. Make a list of these elements that need to be improved and link them with solutions. This method for development will assist your inner critic to become less focused on shortcomings and more directed towards progress. It is also a vital aspect of Peterson's sixth rule: set your house in perfect order before you criticize the world, so its significance is clear. Rule 5. Do not let your children do anything that makes you dislike them. Parents must bring up their children in a way which prepares them for the real world. According to Peterson, this implies making certain they can exist in society by establishing the right regulations. When parents neglect this, their children risk being alienated by the public in many unpleasant ways. This can be a challenging job since our kids are like blank slates that will influence future generations. Making a decision on what to inscribe onto these bare canvases can be daunting. Peterson first encourages readers to recognize the innate aggression that is present in humans. That is why nearly everyone has a story of being bullied as a child. To conquer this animosity, the writer believes your top priority should be bringing up kind children. This does not mean becoming your child's best friend. This would stop you from instituting the essential rules for your kid to become a better person. Peterson outlines the following rules as being effective: never resort to violence unless it is for self-preservation. Always treat others with kindness and respect. Peterson suggests abstaining from shallow rules such as, you have to be in bed by 7 p.m. every night, you should never wear mismatched socks. Parents must discover how to aid their children in dealing with failure and adversity, which are inevitable and can be utilized as learning experiences. Nurture youngsters who are enthusiastic about changing the planet and raise children who aim to better themselves so they can have a more significant impact on the world. Rule 6. Set your house in perfect order before you criticize the world. Jordon Peterson stresses that in order to live a satisfying life, you have to prioritize yourself and your own matters. Reflect on if you're making use of the opportunities that come to you, if you're pursuing success, if you're treating your kin with respect, and if you're leading a lifestyle that's advantageous for your well-being. Only then can you begin tackling bigger tasks. It is essential to be modest. If you are unable to make harmony in your own living space, you are not able to control a village. Listen to your intuition and watch the modifications that occur after you have taken care of your home. As you begin this, you will be more open to voicing your thoughts to your family members and informing them what you need and desire. If you understand that something has to be done, you will take action and make alterations. Your head will start to be less muddled as you stop deceiving yourself and pretending that everything is okay. Your life will advance as you cease acting as if the problems that exist in your home do not exist. Rule 7. Pursue what is meaningful, not what is expedient. Dr. Peterson dubs the act of prioritizing immediate gratification to avoid discomfort as expedient. Yet, there is much more to life than this. To find true joy, strive for something meaningful. Not only will it make you happier, but it will also help you endure life's difficulties. A good way to begin is by sacrificing for the advantage of others rather than simply looking out for yourself. For instance, working diligently to get a promotion, which can still lead to a beneficial result for yourself, but not necessarily for others. Peterson argues that engaging in small, positive deeds can cause us to blossom like lotus flowers. These blossoms start out as seeds at the bottom of a lake, then gradually grow larger. Eventually, they come up to the surface and bloom in the sun. This is how making sacrifices for others can lead to a more meaningful life in the future. Jordon Peterson explains that a balanced life requires both stability and chaos. It is when life is intense, captivating, and purposeful, and time seems to pass without notice, that one is at the crossroads of order and disorder. Rule 8. Tell the truth, or at least, don't lie. Employing words to shape your environment to obtain the desired outcomes can involve both deceiving others and deceiving yourself. Nonetheless, this strategy is based on an erroneous longing that ignores the adverse repercussions. On the flip side, if you pay attention to your behavior and speech, you can learn to detect a sense of inner turmoil and frailty when you are acting inappropriately or talking incorrectly. This is an intuitive feeling, not a conclusion. Nevertheless, if you focus all your efforts on a single aim, you won't ever discover if another goal would be more advantageous. Keeping true to yourself may sometimes lead to conflicts, but if you're able to confront and manage them, it will make you more mature and responsible in both small and big ways. You will be able to pursue your goals more effectively and become wiser through recognizing and correcting your missteps. Jordon Peterson said it best, "If your life isn't where it should be, give truth-telling a shot." If you're constrained by an ideology or have fallen into despair, try telling the truth. If you're feeling powerless, rejected, desperate, and confused, try telling the truth. In paradise, everyone speaks honestly. That's what makes it paradise. Speak the truth. Or, at the very least, don't fib. Rule 9. Assume the person you are listening to might know something you don't. Listen rather than judge. Being a great listener involves being able to reflect the feelings of a group without saying anything. This is what Sigmund Freud proposed. His technique of free association had his patients rest on a couch, gaze up at the ceiling, and say whatever came to their mind. This was a method used by psychoanalysts of the Freudian school to prevent personal prejudices and opinions from influencing the private life of the patient. On the other hand, if you pay attention without judgment, people will usually share all of their thoughts with you without hiding anything. This can lead to some remarkable, peculiar, and fascinating details being shared. You're unlikely to have a dull conversation. What you know now is not enough. Listen to yourself and those you are talking to. Your intelligence isn't measured by the knowledge you already have, but by your continuous search for understanding the highest form of wisdom. Unless your life is perfect, what you know is not enough. You are open to diseases, dishonesty, distress, evil, disloyalty, corruption, pain, and restraints because you are not aware enough to protect yourself. If you had enough intelligence, you could be healthier and more real. You would suffer less. You would be able to recognize, confront, and even conquer wickedness. You would not break a promise to a friend or act in a deceitful or sly way in business, politics, or love. Your existing understanding has not made you perfect or shielded you, so it is insufficient. For this, the priestess of the Delphic oracle in ancient Greece praised Socrates the most. Socrates always sought the truth. She called him the wisest living man because he was conscious that what he knew was nothing. Thus, consider that the person you are listening to may know something you don't. Rule 10. Be precise in your speech. When we come across a challenge, it can be tempting to ignore it or wish it away. It's a lot simpler to keep the peace and avoid the fear, anguish, and sadness associated with tackling the problem. Rather than admitting it's there and experiencing the pain, it's easier to pretend the issue doesn't exist. But that's not a viable solution. Therefore, whenever you set out to accomplish something, you should be explicit and exact in your objectives. Unclear objectives can lead to unclear actions, which can then result in indefinite outcomes. If you feel vaguely troubled, you will struggle with it until you define it explicitly and give it a concrete form. Once you accurately pinpoint the issue, you will likely realize that you were far more scared than necessary. You now have a specific target to battle. And accuracy allows you to begin pushing back against the confusion. Rule 11. Do not bother children when they are skateboarding. Jordon Peterson's main moral inquiry is not how to defend kids from feeling fear and hurt, but rather how to help them gain beneficial knowledge with the least cost. The writer proposes that the way parents bring up their children will decide how they grapple with risks in the future. Many adults tend to keep their kids away from activities like skateboarding or rock climbing, and Peterson argues this will make them not able to confront the challenges of maturity. In addition, Peterson comments on gender parity, which is being more and more pursued in our society. He claims that there is a distinction between equality of chance and equality of result, and that the former should not be realized at the expense of the latter. Additionally, Peterson stresses that absolute equality cannot be supported by biology and can even be counterproductive, as it goes against people's intrinsic tendencies. Rule 12. Pet a cat when you encounter one on the street. Peterson recognizes that it can be easy to focus on the negative aspects of life. After all, some kinds of distress may seem unbearable. He uses the example of his daughter's lifetime struggles with severe arthritis. The simplest solution to this problem is to become jaded or despondent about everything. The reality is that this approach can sometimes be even worse than the original suffering. So as to avoid potential cynicism, pay attention to the love and beauty that are present in your life. This can be a stunning sunset, beautiful flowers, or just petting a cat. Take the time to appreciate these moments when you can to heighten their impact. Life is too valuable to be filled with pain. Final summary of 12 Rules for Life. In 12 Rules for Life, Peterson paints a picture of a chaotic world in which we search for happiness without having the building blocks needed to be truly content. According to him, the basis of this contentment must come from the inside and not from outside sources. Once you have it all sorted out, you can start making a positive influence on other people's lives. To pursue a life full of purpose, Peterson has put together 12 rules. Stand tall with your shoulders back, act as if you are responsible for somebody's well-being, make acquaintances with those who wish you the best, compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to somebody else today, don't let your children do anything that you don't approve of, get your house in check before you criticize the world, follow what is meaningful, not what is convenient, be honest, or, at least, don't lie. Think that the person you are listening to could know something that you don't. Be accurate in your words. Don't interfere when kids are skateboarding. Give a pet a pat whenever you come across one in the street. Wow, what a fantastic journey it's been exploring the key takeaways from this book. We hope you had as much fun watching this video as we had making it. If you found value in this summary and want more of this kind of content, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Trust us, there are many more book summaries in store that will leave you inspired and informed. Until next time, happy learning.